I'm a big fan of time travel stories. I love the intricacies of paradoxes, the creation of different timelines, or if that's not the case, the changes to the single one that exists, the consequences, the butterfly effect. But most of all, I love the internal struggle that characters witness when they go back in time, and the very visceral pain of being able to witness a broken or terrible past, but because of the risk, having to hold yourself back from changing it. Knowing and accepting that you can't change the past and looking towards a better future. That is the primary theme that makes Link Click stand out to me, a new 2021 Chinese anime that has truly blown me away. I'd say that I very much appreciate underrated anime, or underappreciated, rather. Hence my love for, say, Space Brothers, or Mushishi, or the recent Odd Taxi, which, like Link Click, went largely under the radar amidst spring 2021 anime. But while Odd Taxi is just an anime of the season for me, or maybe even the year, Link Click is even further along the spectrum and has genuinely stood out to me as what can possibly become one of my all-time favorite anime. Yeah. Watch this show. It follows two main characters, the brains, calm and collected Lu Guang, and the more headstrong and ambitious, forgive me for my pronunciation, Xiaoshi, who I'll refer to as Cheng from now on for the sake of the ears of any Chinese-speaking viewers right now. If you couldn't tell by the name, it is a donghua, or a Chinese anime, a category which in the past few years has had a number of breakthroughs in mainstream anime, the most notable being The King's Avatar. And I personally, I'm rather ashamed to say it, I've never watched one before, so I figured now was the time to start. And whether this show is an anomaly or a true representation of the standard that donghua reach, this category of show has totally earned my respect. It was simply that good. Now, Lu Guang and Cheng run a small shop called the Time Photo Studio that fronts as a simple photo development store. However, their main job is traveling into photos given by their clients for various reasons. To collect information from someone's boss, say goodbye to a past lover. They enter photos into past memories of people and look for information. Now, Lu Guang is able to see the 12-hour time frame after the photo was taken. The timeline, every moment that happens, he essentially becomes this omniscient viewer. Meanwhile, Cheng enters the photo in the body of the photo taker. Lu Guang constantly informs Cheng of what he has to do to make sure he doesn't change the timeline at all, from ways he has to act to words he has to say. All the while Cheng has to make sure he does the job and collects whatever information the client needs. The overall concept is rather simple at surface level. Enter the photo and do the task you need to without changing anything. One of the lines Lu Guang, the calm and collected one, always says goes along the lines of, "We don't change the past for the sake of changing the future." And first, I must mention the awesome dynamic between Lu Guang and Cheng. Aside from the very obvious yin and yang imagery of their hair, they are really just that, opposites that complete each other. Without Cheng, they can't enter photos, but without Lu Guang, Cheng would inevitably change the timeline completely, return to a life that he doesn't even know. Headstrong versus collected, ambitious versus reserved. And this dynamic, this dichotomy, inevitably leads to conflict. Because Cheng, upon entering the body of the photo taker, experiences their emotions as well, how they feel at the moment. And should the photo be steeped in tragedy, then the urge to change things, to make them better, becomes stronger and more difficult to avoid for the headstrong Cheng. But while this is the makings for a rather annoying character at surface level, being the one who can't follow the rules and is constantly trying to change the timeline, Cheng is actually done extremely well. I actually like him more than Lu Guang. It's hard to go into all of it without spoiling, but the combination of him being in the literal shoes of the characters, as well as the events he's put through, you really end up sympathizing with him because, in a way, he is the only one suffering here. The clients have already lived through these memories. Lu Guang knows the events from start to finish and how it should go. He's disconnected from the story. But Cheng is the one who has to relive it, regardless of whether the end to that 12-hour time frame is good or bad. For Lu Guang, it's just a job, but for Cheng, it's his life and someone else's that he is embodying. And to go through that and accept a terrible end is very difficult, and inevitably, the idea of changing the past becomes the central conflict of the show. Again, I have to reiterate, for any time travel buffs, any Steins Gate fans, or Vivi or ReZero, I think you'll love this show. The time travel is done very well. It's explained clearly without having any holes that I noticed or anything like that. The show itself, aside from the central concept, is also just put together very, very well. It's widescreen, which isn't often seen in anime, honestly. I can personally only think of the Monogatari series off the top of my head. But in Link Click, along with the great animation and the widescreen, it works together to make this very cinematic and artistic feel to it visually. The first episode has a food making scene, a staple of any well-animated movie. Like, all of the anime movies have it for some reason. I don't even know why. And the animation just stays consistently strong. It never falters. I mean, they even have a whole episode where it's really just Cheng playing basketball in someone else's body, and it's animated like almost better than half the games in Kuroko no Basket. It is very, very visually pleasing. And plus, on my mandatory OST rant, the OST itself isn't necessarily top tier. It's good, don't get me wrong, but the opening and ending are awesome. It's where the show really shines sonically. The opening is this funky English track where the characters are tutting. It has like a similar feel to Jujutsu Kaisen's ending with real human-like dancing, and the song is great, of course. And the ending is this dope Chinese hip-hop track that always gets built up to at the end of each episode. Almost every episode ends on some kind of dramatic note or cliffhanger, and the ending just eases right in. Listen to this.
目前不排除因工作失利而选择投河的可能。本台会对后续侦查情况做追踪报道。哦，来了。
But to return to that idea of Link Click having a cinematic feel to it, even more than just aesthetically, this show is almost like multiple movies put into a single series. Each client or each photo that Lu Guang and Cheng go into feels like a single movie in itself. It tells a complete story through these characters' pasts. For example, here I will briefly discuss what happens in the side story episode, which is technically an add-on to the 11-episode series, so I'm trying to avoid spoilers while making sure to give you a rather holistic view on what happens in each episode. Now here, the two boys receive an image from a man who loves this girl from a strict martial arts family, and he can only marry her if he beats her father in battle. Despite him not being from a martial arts family and the girl being older than him, year after year he walks up the mountain to their temple and futilely fights her father. Now Cheng goes into the photo to figure out the key to beating him, what the father's hidden technique is. As he fights, and Lu Guang of course tells him how to avoid the hits and survive since he knows what'll happen, he feels the perseverance and feelings of the man towards his lover, what keeps pushing him year after year. And unfortunately, it's revealed in the past that there is, in fact, another man who wishes to wed her. So this is our client's last chance. But Cheng couldn't figure it out. He ends the 12-hour time frame without ever figuring out what it was. So after they leave the photo, they return to the man who they've never met. They got the photo without seeing him, only to realize now that the young man, who you expected to be just a year older than said photo trying again, is in fact a man now well into his years, a father, a grandfather even. He never once figured out how to win, but has run a dojo for years now because he never gave up and continues climbing those stairs every year. It's heartbreaking and beautiful, knowing that this photo that he sent them was just a last-ditch effort, that he's tried all this time without ever knowing how to win, and they take him up one last time to the top of the mountain, and on second thought actually, I won't spoil the end. Just watch the show. But you can see how emotional Link Click can get, because the entire premise is essentially using the past to make a better future. And there actually is an overarching plot that is drenched in mystery and intrigue that comes by every so often, so it's not just episodic if you don't like that. I really can't praise this show enough. I might even make a more deep philosophical type video about it once it's finished and has time to marinate in my mind. But I just had to get this out now because I want to make sure that people hear about it. I mean, I don't even remember how I found it yesterday afternoon, but I couldn't stop watching after I started. I feel like because it's an ONA, not Japanese, it naturally goes under the radar more, but please give it a try. It is awesome. It's emotional, it's dramatic and intense, and I just love it. I've loved it since the start, and hopefully by the time it finishes in 2 episodes, I'll love it to the very end. What do you guys think? Have any of you watched it? If so, do you like it as much as I do? You might not. I'm a big time travel guy and animation, so it really just hit all the bases for me. Leave a comment down below. As always, this has been the Anime Culture Corner. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe for future in-depth show, manga, and character analyses.